instantly I was like, something is wrong. I know in my heart, I know that the money is gone. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing happy, amazing and positive as always. I thought I haven't done a story time in a really long time, so I thought I'd do one of those while I'm getting ready. I'm just gonna go for a kind of not natural but somewhere in the middle between glam and natural. This story time is going to be about the time that I worked in a retail store and my store got robbed. It was traumatic. It was scary. And I think after that experience, I literally did not trust anyone that came in to my store. I worked in 2 other stores after that, and yeah, I literally trusted no one. Every customer, I had my eye on them. Yeah, it was really scary and really unfortunate that this happened. And honestly, even now when I think or talk about it, I get so angry. So let's get into the story time. So I'm gonna prime my face with hyaluronic acid first. I don't use proper primer anymore. I only use hyaluronic acid, which is a much better primer, especially for oily skin. Okay, so I was about 20 years old working in this store. It was a bohemian store, so there was a lot of like hippie kind of outfits, bohemian style, you know, clothes. We would sell like crystals and, you know, pretty expensive jewelry. We would have like real gemstones and crystals, and they were like locked away in a cabinet. So if anyone was interested in buying them, you know, they'd have to ask us and we'd have to take them with the key and open it up and show them the pieces. And we had to be there as a salesperson with the customer the whole time, so no one steals anything and that they're protected. A lot of the stuff that we sold, you know, it was like incense and wall decoration and cushions and just really like hippie style things. It was a really cool store. To be honest, like the people that would come in, you would never think that they would like steal, because everyone was so like spiritual. Like the people that would come in, they were either spiritual or beginning a spiritual journey, or they simply just like the fashion. So this was around November, like late November. This meant for anyone that works in retail, you would know that if you're working around Christmas time or towards Christmas, it's crazy in the store. Like, you know, there's people buying presents and there's just a lot going on, and anyone that is a manager would know that, you know, you have as many people on as possible, you know, on shift. This day my manager did not have many people on shift. There was this one girl that was working with me, or I think it was 2 girls, but they left earlier than I did. I was the one that had to close that day. And I was cool with it because at the time, like I was pretty chill, you know, and I'm pretty good under pressure. So when there's heaps of people in the store, I kind of just get on with it kind of thing. So while I was working and the other girl was there, these 2 ladies came in. I noticed they were a little strange, you know, but at the end of the day, like I'm not a type of person that would judge someone just because they're a little strange, you know. But now that I think back, like in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, they were really sus, super sus. So they came in, they were kind of talking to me about some jewelry that they wanted to see for one of their mother-in-laws, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, I'll show you some jewelry. And then one of the ladies, they were kind of like walking around the store, but they weren't really looking for anything, you know. So I was like, why are they walking around but not looking at things? I think that was a bit of a red flag there. So they walked around and they asked me if they could see some jewelry later on because they had to bring in the mother-in-law. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, bring her in. And then we can look at some jewelry pieces together. And usually when a customer says, I'll be back later, 90% of the time, they don't come back. So I was like, yeah, they're not coming back. Like, I just thought that they were just one of those customers, you know, because I've definitely been one of those customers as well. So, you know, we go on about our day, helping people out, whatnot. And then the girl that I was working with, she left. She finished her shift and she left. And it was just me at this point. And sorry, the other girl left too. So it was just me, you know, for the last 2 hours. And I thought I could smash this 2 hours out. It was busy. So I thought the afternoon would fly by and I would be home in no time. And then the two ladies appear again. And I'm thinking, great, like, you know, they obviously want to buy something because if they're back, obviously they're interested in purchasing something. I greet them again and I, you know, said, it's good to see you back, blah, blah, blah. But one thing I noticed straight away was that the mother-in-law wasn't with her. It was just those two ladies again. And I was like, oh, like I just said to her, I was like, oh, did your mother-in-law not come? And she's like, oh, no, she's like busy downstairs in a store. And I was like, okay. And this is, mind you, like maybe an hour after they first came into the store. So I was like, okay, no worries. Like, you know, whatever, what can I do to help you? And she's like, I just went to see some jewelry pieces. I'm like, great. So the store is packed at this point. I look around, I'm like, I need to be quick with this customer because there's a lot of people walking around and stuff like that. I take this lady who's interested in the jewelry pieces to the cabinet where we keep the jewelries on display. Her friend walked away. She wasn't with us because she was not looking at jewelry pieces. So I'm thinking, while her friend's with me looking at what she's interested in, I thought maybe her friend is looking around to what she's interested in. So didn't really take much notice. And these women were like maybe in their late 30s. Usually we just look out for school kids, you know, because they tend to steal more, and you know, just people who are acting a little bit suspicious. So I take this woman to the cabinet. I open up the cabinet where we keep the expensive things. And I looked at the stuff that she was picking out, and it was all the really expensive things, right? To be honest, no one ever picked out the expensive things. Like if people want expensive things, they go to a proper jeweler. And I'm thinking to myself, this is interesting. Like she's actually going for all the really expensive things. She's talking about her husband and whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I look at her finger, and the other red flag was that she didn't have a wedding ring. And I'm like, she's talking about her husband, yet I don't see a wedding ring on her. So that was another kind of instinct kicking in for me. But I was like, whatever, there could be a bunch of reasons why she's not wearing her wedding ring, you know, don't like just come to conclusions. So yeah, she's picking out all these things. She's keeping me really like distracted. She's like, this one, this one, this one. And all eyes I felt like had to be on her because it was really expensive, all the jewelry pieces. So I was like, yeah, I really need to keep my eye on this because if I turn around for 2 seconds, she could grab something and walk out without me even knowing. You just have to be really cautious. That is obviously the policy of a store. By the way, I'm not going to say the name of the store because I don't want to get sued. So she's, you know, talking to me. She's picking out all these pieces. And I'm like, okay, she's been here for a while and she's not really coming to a conclusion of what she wants. I don't know. I was feeling a little weird, right? And honestly, it was my instinct. My instincts were telling me something was really not right. And I took like quick glances of the store and there were so many people and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really need to hurry up. I had to keep looking at the cash register as well, just really quick glances while keeping my attention to this lady just to see if anyone was waiting to pay for anything. So as she's picking out all these like really expensive pieces, you know, she's like, my mother-in-law would really like this, my mother-in-law would really like that. And these pieces are like really bohemian style pieces. And this woman did not look bohemian at all, right? She didn't really know what she was kind of talking about either, so I had to explain a few things and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, maybe her mother-in-law is very, you know, into this kind of stuff like crystals and gemstones and whatnot. So yeah, I was just like, maybe she knows what the mother-in-law wants. So I look over again to the cash register, and the cash register is kind of like in the middle of the store. And it's got like a little wall around it and you can see the computer and the register and all that kind of thing. If anyone was to look over, you'd be able to reach over to the till, which is like most stores, you know. So I look over one point just to check if anyone was waiting to pay for anything. So I noticed this lady's friend, mind you, when they came in together, they kind of just separated straight away. They didn't both just come to me and talk to me. As soon as they entered the store, it was like, this lady came to me, this lady went away. I just thought, okay, maybe she knows what she's looking for. The friend is just going to browse. I didn't really think of it as anything. You know, at the time I was like, when I go shopping with my friends, I usually just, you know, do my own thing. If my friend is busy with the cash, like the salesperson. I noticed this lady's friend has a dress, a very long flowy dress, kind of draped next to where the cash register is. So she's got it open, like all the flowy part of the dress, she's got it open and it's covering the point of sale, the register. And I'm like looking at her and I'm like, wow, I can't see the register from here. And she looked like she was looking in. She didn't look like she was looking at the dress. She was looking as though she was kind of turning her head looking where the cash register was. Instantly, I was like, something is wrong. She caught me looking. She was like doing these ones. So she's looking back at the register and then she's looking at me. Instantly, I knew something was wrong because as soon as she looked from the register to me, she was like pretending as though she was looking at the dress. And I'm like, dude, you were not looking at the dress just then. Something is wrong. She is doing something really suspicious. So I look at this lady that I'm serving and I say to her, sorry, excuse me, I will be back in a sec. So I put all the jewelry pieces back, lock up the cabinet, and I walk up to the register. And by the time I locked up the cabinet and told the lady that I'd be back, this other friend of hers was walking out of the store. She placed the dress that she was looking at on a random rack nearby and she was walking out. And I'm like, okay, I can't technically chase her out. That's illegal because there's nothing that I know that she's done wrong yet. So I said to myself, I need to check the cash register to see what's gone on. She's walked out at this point. The friend that I was serving was walking out behind her. So I'm like, she was not interested in these $800 pieces. She was keeping me distracted from something. So I walk around to the cash register and I know in my heart, I know that the money is gone. I open up the register and what do you know? There's like $800 plus in cash missing from the till. And I panic. I'm all alone by myself. This is my first retail job. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. I am freaking out. And I look at everyone that was in the store. I'm like, sorry guys, you need to leave. There's been a theft. And I tried to go outside to see if those girls, if those ladies were anywhere to be seen, but they must have just run out through the exit that was close by. I'm like, I can't leave the store because I can't, I can't go chasing after them because then I'll leave the store and I don't know where they've gone. So I just kick everyone out. I was like, sorry guys, we're closed. There's been a theft. You guys need to all leave. I apologize. The store will be open again tomorrow. You can come back then. This is on a weekend, by the way. Everyone leaves and I double check the register just to make sure I wasn't seeing things because I was panicking, like freaking out. And I'm like, I'm going to get fired. That's it. This is my job gone. I really thought that I messed up. I call my manager and I said to her, someone has just stolen. I told her the story about what happened. Those two ladies were acting really suspicious. This is what they've done, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, shit, can't believe this, oh my God. Like she's freaking out. I'm freaking out. She's like, call security, call the police. You need to get the police there immediately. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll call the police, call the security guard. So I called the security guard. Security guard came. I gave my story about what had just gone down and they took down like the description of the ladies. Luckily, when they walked out, I was keeping a mental note of what they were wearing, what they looked like, because when your instincts kick in, you just know to take note of all those kinds of things. So I took a massive mental note of both of them, what they were wearing, all that kind of thing. As soon as the lady, the friend, walked out, I saw her through the window crossing the corner, and I was just keeping like a mental note of what she was wearing and what she looked like, what color hair she had, what skin complexion she had, what color she was wearing, what kinds of clothes she was wearing. And then even the other lady that I was helping out, I kept a mental note of what she was wearing as well. The good thing is just outside of the store was a camera. So I'm like, awesome, you know, the camera would have captured them. So yeah, I told the security guard what their description was, and he was writing it all down. A police officer came, I spoke to them about it. They asked pretty much the same questions about what had happened and, you know, what they were wearing, who they were, what they, you know, just the whole story. I was like, yeah, they're going to catch these women. Like, I've given them a pretty accurate description, and the cameras would have caught them walking out, you know. I felt like I was safe in that sense, that they were going to get caught and we were going to get the money back. But I was wrong, very wrong, because they never got caught. They, you know, took that $800 and we never saw it again. I had to even call the owner of the whole freaking company and tell him what happened. The great thing was he was so nice about it. You know, he was like, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? He didn't really care about the money. He cared more about how I was, which was really nice, because I thought he was going to yell at me. Like, I was literally shaking as I was calling his phone. We waited for the police to tell us anything new. We even called a couple of times to see if they, you know, came up with anything. Every time we called them or whatever, there was nothing much that was really done. I have a feeling they didn't really look into it that much, you know, because at the end of the day, it is hard to find people like that. We kind of just, I guess, left it because there was nothing really that was being done. The cops didn't call us to update us. We had to call them. The ladies were never found. And I remember that day when it happened, I left work feeling so defeated. I was blaming myself for what had happened because it was my responsibility to take care of the store and take care of, you know, our money and whatnot. But I was reassured that the manager that was working should have put more people on shift the whole time. You know, it wasn't my fault. She should have obviously thought about it because, hello, like, it's Christmas period. You would think you would have a minimum of like 3 people working, you know, one at the point of sale, like the cash register the whole time, and 2 people on the floor. But yeah, that didn't happen. And after that, it was like a policy for years. I don't know if it still is, but it's a policy now that in every beginner's meeting or whatever, every manager's meeting, it is this story is told and every person knows about it that works there. I got told this after I actually left the company. I went in one day just to look at a few things, and one of the ladies that were there told me that after what had happened with you, it's just a policy, a company policy, that, you know, this is a known fact, and that every manager is to be careful with how many people they put on shift at busy times. And I was like, wow, this story is famous. That's crazy. It was a really, really traumatic time. But luckily, everyone that I worked with was so incredibly supportive, and they reassured me that it was not my fault. And how they got in the register is still a mystery. I'm thinking that what they did when they first came into the store, the first time when there were 3 people working, they came in to scan the store and see if this was a potential store that they could steal from. They came out, just made up a story that there's a mother-in-law who wants to buy something. They knew we had valuables in there as well. So that's why they left. They thought of a game plan together maybe, and they came back, and the friend was distracting me while the other friend was stealing. The cops checked for any tampering with the lock of the register. There was no tampering. We thought maybe they could have put like a paper clip or a bobby pin in there to open the lock, but There was no tampering. We did have a key underneath though, which anyone would have felt if they had put their hand in that little cavity. They would have felt that there was a key there. So I'm thinking she felt it or she saw it and she took it and she simply just opened up the register and took out the money. The only cash that was left was like $5 notes. Like a couple, like 2 $5 notes, and there was obviously the change because no one's going to take change. All like the $100 notes, the $50 notes, and the $20 notes were taken, and we were left with literally like maybe $50 in the till. At the store, I was really like scared to be left alone. I was really weary of everyone, and that did not stop for the next like 2 jobs that I had, you know. I was so scared all the time. I mean, it could have been worse. I could have been hurt. Anyone, like any other customer could have been hurt, but luckily that was not the case. Everyone was safe, everyone was fine, and the safety of people is the main thing. I was so angry at those women, thinking like, how could you guys like do something like this? You know, this is so wrong. You know, you come in here, you act like you're these customers that are interested in things, and then you steal. You know, I was really naive back then as well. Like, I was only 20 years old. I didn't really have anything like this happen before, and on the odd occasion I would find someone stealing, you know, a little something. I never expected people to actually steal money, like cash, from the register, you know. Anyways, so that was my traumatic robbery story. I don't know if that's a robbery though. Is that just theft or is that robbery? I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to hear more story times. I will be back here again next week, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. It helps me out so much, and please stay tuned for next week, and I shall see you then. Stay happy, stay amazing, stay positive. Bye.